Labor has gone into this race with a real chance for the first time in 3 decades. They need 15 extra seats to do it, and last-minute opinion polls suggest the necessary swing is tantalisingly close.
The 1989 election in Queensland was remarkable. Queenslanders don't change government very often.
This, December the 2nd, 1989, is the end of the Bligh-Peterson era.
The start looked bad for the Queensland National Party. It was all but wiped out in the southeast corner of the state. The Liberal Party increased its vote but lost seats. It blames the Nationals.
Association with National Party, even potentially, and the issue of corruption was absolutely overwhelming.
I think the electorate was actually shocked at what they heard coming out of the Fitzgerald inquiry and had decided well before the election that Wayne Goss was a reasonable person to vote for in response.
And what Queenslanders and people in Brisbane have done today is they've turned their back on the past.
In that previous term, the Nationals had won government in their own right in 83, been re-elected in 86, and then the wheels just fell off the government. The Bligh-Peterson had started the Joe for Canberra campaign and then been dumped by his own party. Mike Ahern had struggled with the Fitzgerald Royal Commission, then been dumped 2 months before the election, and Russell Cooper had a very shaky 2 months in the run-up to the election campaign, and Wayne Goss and Labor just swept the state.
This election is about making a difference. We are fighting for our political survival.
We are so close that many of them can almost smell the victory.
Election which has major implications for the future direction of the state and one which has captured the attention of the nation.
At least 1 in 3 of the people who voted National Party last time are not voting National Party this time.
In the country and in the city, voters fled the major parties.
Well, it's good, of course it is. It's very exciting.
Now, I have never seen a situation where a minor party in more than a third of the electorates at an Australian election has come first and second in that sort of proportion. I have never seen that.
I love you. You've been magnificent to me. We're going to be magnificent to you.
He was a very charismatic leader. He could work a crowd really well.
Analysts were calling the result just 40 minutes after the polls closed.
I'd say the government's back.
It was the biggest Labor victory in Queensland's political history. Peter Beattie could barely contain the grin.
There are many people who voted Labor today for the first time in their lives. We have to win their support for the long term.
The clean sweep has left the Conservatives in tatters. The National Party will have just 10 of the 89 seats if it's lucky.
A huge, charismatic smile, and he had a very, I wouldn't say a close relationship with the media, but he worked the media very well.
Welcome back to the State Tally Room in Brisbane, where early indications are that the Beattie government has been returned with a comfortable majority.
Labor has roared back, but the spin has won over the substance.
A few moments ago I rang Premier Peter Beattie and congratulated him on a strong result in the 2006 state election.
This is the 20th consecutive state or territory election that the Liberal Party or the Coalition have lost.
The Liberal and National parties were in and out of coalition. They were a mess. There were three-cornered contests in really crucial seats that they should have won, but instead were competing against each other for votes.
They were demoralised, fractured, and really I don't think knew exactly what they believed.
The Liberals meeting was in one room, the Nationals right next door. Both voted overwhelmingly in favour of a merger, and the walls came down.
The merger really is Laurence Springborg's baby. He was the one that pushed this, and he put his leadership on the line over it.
He'd seen a merger take place in Canada, liked what he saw, thought it could work here, brought it back, and it was instantly rejected. But he persisted.
This is one of the most momentous days of my life.
His supporters celebrated with cheers, applause, chanting, "Hell Antony! Hell Antony!
Queenslanders,
Thank you.
Andrew Fraser, what do you think?
I think it's a deserving honour for her to claim the mantle as the first female elected in her own right. I think that is a mantle that rightfully belongs to Anna Bligh tonight.
Thousands of Queenslanders have had their homes and livelihoods washed away. Many have nothing to return to.
As we weep for what we have lost, and as we grieve for family and friends, and we confront the challenge that is before us, I want us to remember who we are. We are Queenslanders.
I think the Queensland floods were such a catastrophic event that Anna Bligh for quite some time had to put aside the politics that she normally has to indulge in.
Anna Bligh appearing on the television cameras, exhausted, on the verge of tears, but pushing through.
I think the public saw this woman, a leader of the state, putting all politics aside and just being somebody who cared about them.
I think the real change was in her and her perception of herself as more than anything else, and people admired that.
The Queensland floods were an important factor in this election. It revived Anna Bligh's leadership and it forced the LNP to change leader.
The LNP's bold plan is to win government with a leader from outside Parliament.
Well, if I don't win, the LNP won't win.
We have a leader of the Liberal National Parties who is not in Parliament. This is something we've never seen before in Queensland. It's unprecedented.
Where somebody who is not able to go into Parliament, indulge in the Parliament every day toing and froing, is leading a party that wants to get into government.
It is probably the first competitive election in Queensland for a decade.
If the merger works here in Queensland, the pressure will really be on for the Conservative forces in other states.
The twist could come from the whole Campbell-Newman scenario. Whether he wins the seat of Ashgrove, does he become Premier?
Will Campbell-Newman's big gamble pay off? Will he have been successful?
There's always a surprise. There's always something fascinating that comes out of it.
That's where the magic is. I love the unscripted, the accidents, the drama. That's where the fun is and that's where the excitement is, and it will happen.
There's some MPs who will be very subdued, having just learnt that they have lost their jobs. Other camps, there'll be wild excitement and balloons in the background, having just won. It really is a night of extreme highs and extreme lows.
I mean, for years, we've always been ahead of everybody else in the predictions. Our bottom of frame, our numbers are always ahead of everybody else's. We've usually got the margin.
The ABC provides year after year in state and federal elections coverage that you really don't get anywhere else.
We are best able to take the results as they come in and turn them into what the actual result is, and we're able to integrate that into our coverage. We integrate that into a website, into mobile phones, into a radio coverage. We're not just sitting there pontificating, we're actually driving a whole analysis which gives people access to numbers across a whole range of platforms.